Welcome back to the RL. If you've made it this far, get ready, guys, because we're about to amp it up this year, okay?
Yeah, I'm so excited for what we have in store for 2025, but as a result, we get to celebrate 2024 and all that fun stuff too.
Yeah. We were talking about New Year's resolutions earlier.
You told me you're not a resolutions person.
I've like gone into it being like, oh, this year I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
I don't set goals for myself. I'm not a goal setting individual, never.
Why do you think that is?
I think I'm just like, I don't know. It might be because.
Are you worried about like not hitting the goal?
Maybe it's that, but also I just don't get, I'm like, there's nothing. I just get bored. I don't know how to explain it.
Wait, I don't know what that means.
I don't know, because I don't know how to explain it.
Like you get over working towards the same goal. Like you're like, nah, let's move
yeah,
on
like
to
I'm
the next thing.
enough
of that one.
It's like I could leave it now, like it's fine. I don't actually do
Then
that.
make yourself like a short goal.
I know.
Like something really simple.
Yeah, I think that's why having lists are really nice, because you can
Should we
cross
force
it off.
you into making?
I think
like
I'm more of like
simple...
a week goal kind of guy.
That's great.
Is it?
Yeah, why not?
Because I know the stats on this. We should probably Google this right now. Like, what are the stats on people who set goals versus people who don't?
I think people who set goals are more likely to
Correct.
reach them.
Correct. Well, they're like X amount more successful.
Doesn't it have to do with like also like again like where you're focusing your mental energy? Like you're aiming. You know what was that? Shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars. Like you're heading in that direction because you're constantly like thinking about going that way.
Are you a goal setter?
I feel like I've learned these past few years how valuable it is and that like I need to set goals. And have you ever heard of SMART goals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't heard,
You practically don't graduate college without knowing what a SMART goal is.
It's probably
all the
where you're
marketing
going
classes.
There you go. But it's, well, do it with me. What's the S stand for? I'm already lost.
Don't put us on the spot.
Crap. What's the S stand for?
Okay, proof that you can graduate college and still not know everything.
I know M is it's measurable. It's A, it's attainable. R,
realistic.
And T to a timeline. So what's the S?
Oh, shit.
Specific.
Specific?
It has to be specific. Like,
okay, we actually know a lot of that.
Yeah, like you can't just make a goal and be like, I want to be rich and famous. No. Like how much is rich to you? What is famous to you? Like let's break it down. Like what does that mean? So that's the specific part.
Okay. Well, here's the stat, I guess. Okay, you know what? There's a lot of different studies. And I'm getting different numbers for all of these.
We'll throw one out for us.
If you type into Google the AI overview, which is like a thing now.
I love that.
I kind of do too. The AI overview says, according to a University of Scranton survey. I don't know what that means.
Scranton, like
Scranton.
Like Scranton.
But why would I say to a University of Scranton? Okay, whatever.
I don't know because AI didn't write it right.
Only 8% of adults achieve their goals, which means that 92% fail. Okay. All right.
Wow,
well,
what a positive outlook to start the new year.
That's not the kind of stat I was looking for. Goal setting can be an effective motivational tool. Okay. 83 studies on goal setting and job performance found that employees who set specific challenging goals saw a 16% improvement in performance.
But that's employees. I don't care about people's
A study by
lives.
Dominican University found that people who set goals are 43% more likely to achieve them. But it's not just about setting any old goal. The point is, people, is that if you set goals, you're already bumping yourself up to a percentage of people that achieve goals.
Yeah.
And that are like motivating themselves to go and do things.
But again, you can't just set a goal that's like, I'm gonna get my master's degree this year. Like, well, that's not attainable because a master's degree takes 2 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, but like, it's like stuff like that where it's like, make it specific, measurable, attainable. Wait, what's the R? Realistic, and with the timeline, and that's what I think is good about like the fresh start of a fresh new year's. Like you can make something big that you have a year to accomplish.
So what do you typically do? Is it health related? Is it personal life oriented? Is it I feel like these are in categories.
I'm gonna even bring it back. So growing up, I never did like New Year's resolutions. It wasn't a thing because, to be honest, like my mom being a teacher, she was like, guys, this isn't even the New Year. New Year happens in August. Like, what are we doing? Like she's on the school calendar.
You know what's so funny is it wasn't until like a couple, maybe a little longer than that, we'll say a little longer than that, years ago, where I literally realized that when people refer to like, oh yeah, last year, or like the beginning of this year, they're counting it from New Year's Eve.
Not the school calendar.
Not the school year.
So my mom was always messed up over that because she's a teacher. That's her whole career. So she was like, I honestly, like, we're just not into celebrating because that's just not a holiday.
We spent our whole lives in school. So naturally I was
confusing.
As a kid, I was like, I didn't get that. I totally thought it was a school year.
So, and then also, you might relate to this too, growing up Catholic, if you're gonna like, you know, give something up or make a goal, that's for Lent.
Yeah.
Like, that's Lenten time. And so that's 40 days and 40 nights of you pick something. And so that was the only time I'd ever, like, I don't know, done a thing until like 2 years ago. I did a whole, like, I feel like you're either a reader or you're not a reader. And I was like, people who read books, that's cool.
That's cool?
Yeah, like, I think it's great when people like read, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you read? Like, that's fascinating. Like, I don't read. So I made myself a goal of, like, I was gonna read a book a month, which is not dramatic, but it is for somebody who doesn't read.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself because I crushed that goal.
Do you have a list of every book you read?
I do, because it's on my Goodreads. That's
Goodreads.
an app I was
telling
telling her about.
Goodreads.
Yes, because it's also, like, I feel like difficult.
I really want to be that girl.
I know, right? That's why I was
really
I should do it. And so also I think it's really cool if people have a library of books that they've actually read. I do not intend to travel around in my life with a giant stack of books.
Oh, that's funny you should say that, because all of our little box of books is sitting in our basement. And
have you read them all?
Yeah, I've read them all,
nice.
but you don't need that, guys. I know it might sound cringy, but get yourself a damn library card and go to the public library and just borrow the books and bring them back, because when you think about some of these books are expensive. Hardcover versus paperback, do you know the difference between price and that? It's big.
I get paperback.
It's
But here's the thing, and so many people do so good about like the Audible and the audiobook. I am so old school. Like, I really like having a book in my hand and flipping the pages. Something
Me
about
too.
it. I don't want somebody else's voice in my head unless it's a podcast. So when it comes to like a book like that, to me, it's like, I don't know, I need to make like the voices and the sound, like I need it to do it myself, so I just need to read it. But I've always been a visual learner.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So on Goodreads, you have your library of your book. So you can go, like, when you finish a book, you can go look up your book and you can add it to books that you've read. So then you've got a constant like list of all of the books that you've read, and you can rank them and you can write like a little review, and then you have your friends on there. Shout out Carrie and Mary. I think I was with both of y'all when you told me that I needed to download Goodreads, and I actually had just looked up Carrie just recently finished a book.
Yeah, I think they have book talk too, like on TikTok, which is where I think I have seen like what the trending books are, and then I read them. But I think it's kind of like meal prepping. Like, you have to like get your books and like know what you're gonna read, and then you have them, and then you'll read them.
Okay, but
you know what I'm saying?
But that's what's fun about the Goodreads that I was so happy with, is there's a whole list of want to read, because I feel like I finish a book and then I'm like, oh, what
it's
do
gotta
I
be
read
lined
next?
up.
And then because you're like, I know that there's stuff that people told me I need to read, and what was
But you
it, and I
forget
don't
it.
remember.
Okay.
No, so then when people tell you need to read this book, or you have a friend who recommended a book, you can go there and you can put on your want to read. So when I finish a book, I go, where's my want to read list? And then I immediately like Amazon myself the book, because like I said, I tangibly like to have pages in front of me. It's way easier for people who just can go Audible and it's done.
Okay, I need to get onto that.
So like that was a fun resolution, because it was, you know, getting me closer to that lifestyle of like, oh, like go to read.
Yeah, I think what it is because I'm so visual. A lot of it's like my New Year's resolution is my Pinterest board. And so
Which is
it's
cool.
not
That's great.
It's not like a written down goal. It's like an aesthetic that I want to achieve, or like a lifestyle I want to achieve.
So that's probably what's difficult then, because you're
and
not...
I see it only through visuals, through like photos and videos.
Do you have the ability to, like, even if it's just bullet points, like jot down like what is like the definition of that to you? So because if you don't have it,
break it into steps of what it looks like to
it's
get
like,
there?
You could, sure, but like also, how do you know that you've gotten there? How do you know that you've reached the aesthetic? Like, how can you like look around and be like, check the box?
Yeah.
Some people don't need that. I'm a big like check a box off a list kind of a person. I like, there's something satisfying about that to me, but it's not like necessary. It's just like, you know, part of
I
it.
feel like my ass gets kicked into gear when it's more busy.
Yeah,
When there's not enough going on, then I'm not as
productive.
Yeah. When there's like stuff I have to get done, then it's like, boom, I have to create a priority list, and then it's like, oh, then I'm getting it done.
Yeah.
And then it's like, every time you cross it off, it's like, wow, like, okay, that feels really good.
Yeah. I'm completely with you. I totally thrive in like when I'm busy versus like things are chilling. Like right now, this past week in between Christmas and New Year's, you know, that's a blur for anyone. Does anyone feel productive in that week? Like, that's a hard week to even
It should
feel
just be a
productive.
given week off for everyone.
Yeah, it's weird. And like,
Can you imagine going back to work the day after Christmas?
Yes, I can.
Actually, you probably can't.
Yes.
You're right.
Last year, that's why I came home from Christmas. I was like, I'm gonna have to work, so I'd rather just like get a good night's sleep in my bed. And I'm going to work tomorrow. Like, I'm going to work like you know, before New Year's.
Do you have a lot of people that are moving this time of year? Right now?
This is not busy season, if you will.
Okay.
Like, it's not in comparison to summer, but
It's
I mean,
probably more
decent.
like prep season for
Always-
the busy season.
It always surprises me how many people do move this time of year. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
who's moving the day before Christmas? Some
Are you-
people.
I'm curious though, are rates down to help get business?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that's probably...
To fill y'all in, I run a movie
Yeah,
company
sorry,
with my
guys.
fiance. So yeah, so our
This is
movie
Olivia.
company.
Olivia's telling this, by the way. In case you're just listening.
Damn it, we
you
did
can't
two
tell.
introductions
We did.
again.
Hi, I'm Rachel. This is my voice.
And I'm your co-host, Liv. But yeah, no, so we do, like, entering the cold months, a lot less people are moving, and so we do a discount on our prices, and then it's nice because we can, like you said, prep stuff and gear up and, you know, finesse and review our policies and our processes to prepare for, okay, come, you know, May probably,
Yeah.
it's showtime through October.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Cyclical business. It's not, I don't know, it's not my favorite. The fact that it, like, there's like an ebb and flow to it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting going into this year, like, as a business owner, trying to, you know, getting all the numbers in order, looking at it in terms of Q1 through Q4, and like setting those kinds of like business goals, because when you talk about SMART goals, like, necessary but also maybe easier to contextualize than in somebody's personal life. Like,
Yeah. Well, I
What are
think
your personal
I think a
goals?
lot of it translates. They always say like the inside of your house is a representation of what's going on inside of you as an
Mhm.
individual, or like your room, or
that's what
if
they
you don't
say.
have a
If you're
house,
like
your apartment.
overwhelmed and scatterbrained, like, pick something to clean. You'll feel better.
Yeah, like the messier it is, probably the more chaotic your brain is, or like just more you got going on. But okay, so you said, so the book reading, you did accomplish that.
Yeah, and I was proud of myself for that, because that's literally, like, I think the only New Year's resolution that I think I've kind
I
of
think
done.
like I'd love to learn to do the middle splits.
Oh my god, make that a goal.
Yeah, and there's also like yoga. So yoga, a little background, like I hated yoga. It made me so angry inside. Like I hated yoga.
What? It made you angry? Alright, you're gonna need
It
to
made
get
me
into that.
so annoyed and angry inside.
Why?
Because I think I'm so used to like I did track and gymnastics growing up, so it was very like you felt what you were doing. really intense. So it's a completely different. Guys,
It
it doesn't
depends
make
on
me
what
feel that
kind.
anymore.
It depends on what kind of yoga though too. Okay, here's a plot twist for you. I took yoga in college, so
As
that
a
was
class?
fun. Yeah, I had some elective credits. Like, I took yoga. I took wine tasting. Senior year was pretty chill for me.
What? We're gonna do another episode on college, guys.
Okay, but I want to hear about what is this yoga that makes you
No, well, at the
angry?
beginning, I was just not used to having to take it slow and actually just like be grounded.
And
I was very like go, 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 like running fast, lifting fast, like flipping in the air, like doing stuff that was very active or like physically demanding.
Yeah.
Yoga is physically demanding. And so I think when you're having to stay in the same position for a while, it makes you realize, like, if you have any sort of tension inside of you, like, it's going to bring it to the surface real quickly.
Ooh.
Because you're having to learn
Yeah.
to be patient. Like, you have to feel every muscle. Like, it's a very... Actually, the tradition of yoga, I don't know if you guys know this, yoga is actually mastering, like, yogis master one position for, like, hours. And so... modern day yoga is a lot of like, I don't know if it was a vinyasa flow where it's like very fast and stuff.
There's so many different kinds
There's so
of
many
yoga,
different
but
kinds.
that one is very popular at gyms and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a vinyasa,
But it's something that I do, I think probably especially, actually there is pregnancy yoga, but after I'm done having baby number 2, there's a lot that I want to do with yoga. And
That
I
makes
think,
sense.
and that and Pilates, because I think it's a lot of like calisthenics, or
Uh-huh.
maybe less Pilates is, but like, no, it is. It's a lot of like body weight and just like being in touch with your body. And there's so much you can do that doesn't require you to have to be lifting heavy
Right.
weights. Although I do think that, although that is very important for women, especially to be lifting heavy weights, as we learned in New York City.
yeah.
But yeah, there's something about it that I know is very good for you. And so the fact that I had an issue with it when I was younger, like in high school, is I think something that I need to explore.
So on your
more.
2025 vision board, yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, half of 20. We'll see. But there's something about it. I don't know. And also,
I've
you know
really
why?
gotten into yoga before. Like I did not get into yoga until I was forced to do yoga for 3-hour sessions twice a week
Oh my gosh.
in college. That was the class.
I
turns
think
out.
I'm only into hot yoga though.
Well, that's really intense and so good for you. That tracks for me though because like I feel like you're an intense workout person. We've never worked out together.
We haven't.
We
We
should.
should.
But I feel like, you want to get the sweat on and you want to feel it. And I used to have a membership to hot yoga and I really did love it because I've gotten into yoga before where like you have to learn the value of it though and you have to get comfortable, sure with being uncomfortable like in those positions and stuff, but you also have to get used to the fact of like the expectations. I feel like people go into yoga and it can be like intimidating because you don't know what they're saying, like you don't know the names of poses, you don't know like sometimes you forget your left and right and like which way is this flow going, and so it can seem intimidating, but when you realize like yoga is literally it's meant for you to just do you, and so you can always just child pose the whole time and the instructor would be like
that's
good
true.
job, like you can do as much or as little as you want, and it really it doesn't.
I don't think
it's
people
not a place to
fully
show off.
realize too like how demanding it actually can be to like do a full yoga class. And there's different levels of difficulty,
Dude,
but
there's
like
different breath works. It's
yeah.
crazy. If you get into it, I mean, it is something. I've always like maybe life bucket list. I'm not signing up for this one. This is not a goal I'm preaching, guys. But maybe one day I'll get my yoga instructor's license just for funsies. Because it would be. I think so.
Yeah, there's so much that I think, I don't know. I love that whole realm of things.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? There was something I was gonna say with yoga.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Gray had this goal this year that she was going to do an unassisted pull up, and I've been watching all of her stories getting there all year, and congrats Gray, you killed it. She hit her goal before the new year.
There you go.
We love to see it. And it's that stuff that I just like love to see. I love to hear it. I'm like, what are your goals? What are you working on? Like, where are we headed? And do I have some to share right now? No, I gotta get on the New Year's resolution train. I'm always a last minute about it.
I think it's just, well, I know, because then the New Year's passed, and you're like, I don't think about it, and then some month passed, and you're like, oh, whatever. Like, is it a trend just to say that what your New Year's resolution is?
My fiance he always picks like really dramatic ones, so I feel like I'm just countering him with my lack of a New Year's resolution, just so I can purely be all hands on deck towards his, because he picks some big ones sometimes.
He does, but
yeah.
he did it.
He always
does it,
accomplishes
it
them.
seems.
Yeah.
I feel like it's for anything too. It's just a matter of like just like getting started, and then once you start, then it's like you get the ball rolling, and you're like, oh, like you have to get the momentum and stamina.
So I want to ask you what you're most excited for in 2025. I feel like there's some obvious big ones.
There's some obvious big ones. I'm due beginning of June with baby number 2, and Luke, my husband and I were just talking about this last night. We got these, we have a couple packs of these, but they're like couples cards, and there's different tiers, and so you pick one, and it's a different level of like depth that the question is. It can be a little more surface level, but basically it's to
Cute.
help look inside of your relationship and just like be honest with one another.
Cute.
And I'm obsessed with them, and also like if you're not in the mood, and they are, like I feel like women like need a connection moment. They need like 20 minutes of conversation in bed, and then you're like, I'm ready to go.
No, you're so right. I was like, what mood do you have to get in to check a deck of cards?
No, but they're like
that mood.
they're like yeah, they're like they can be sensual cards, like they're romantic cards. They're meant to be like.
Wow, guys should put that in your arsenal, because that would definitely.
I'll have to post
help
which
out.
cards they are, honestly, because
You do, because
they're
maybe
fun.
I should get some too. It sounds fun.
But where I was going with this is, I think one of the questions was along the lines of like, what's something that, like, what's one of your favorite moments during the relationship, or what's something that you want to change, whatever. It was something along those lines, but basically it had us thinking and like talking about stuff. And I said to him, I was like, sometimes like I wonder what it would have been like if we were living together before I got pregnant, because if you don't know, we were dating long distance, and then I got pregnant, and then we moved in together. Now, we already knew that like we were each other's person. As I mentioned before, guys, we totally knew what we were doing, and we were so excited to have our first daughter. But we never had that first year or like that time living together as just a couple, just like the two of us. And during our long distance relationship, it was very active. Like weekends, we were like, let's go to Florida. Like we were just doing everything and anything, working out together, traveling together, going to concerts, like hosting parties, like just doing so much. And then the first year we lived together, it's like, oh shit, like now I'm working, he's working, and then suddenly we're mom and dad. And you're like, whoa. And like we've adapted very well, but there's definitely an element of, I think, like something that you're like, okay, like we're going through this now, and eventually like, we'll go back into that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think I'm most excited to probably like have baby number 2, and then just be able to focus on myself and get back into like the habit of like going to the gym and like being more active, because now it's like I feel like I have the time, or like I can, because I'm not pregnant. I'm not holding this like big belly, and I'm not going through all these hormones as much. Like I'm like starting to even out a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Yes, and question for you. Sorry guys. This could obviously change, but you currently, like, I know you're looking forward to that, like having baby number 2 so you can, be not pregnant again, right? Like go do you. But like, does that mean that you guys currently see baby number 2 as like done?
No, I wouldn't
No?
say like it's done. I think it might be, but like we're not
so
like,
far away from that decision.
Yeah, we're not saying like it will officially be the last one, but I think for now it's just like I'm just excited to like get into a solid routine.
It's funny because, how you said, like, you and Luke were recently talking about that, like, looking back in your relationship and, what would have been. Me and Hayden were recently talking about, I think I said, like, oh, like, what was the most exciting moment of 2024? And I said to him, I was like, to be honest, I was going to say getting our little puppy, Canela. I was like, but there seems to be a bigger, more obvious one. that I can't like look past, because like Canella, like that was so exciting
Yeah.
to get our puppy, but I was like, oh my god, like that was just this past year, and he was like, oh yeah, we got engaged.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. It's like that was huge, but like it's kind of crazy. Like I know we're having a long engagement, but it is like sometimes it seems crazy that like, oh, like yeah, that was, you know, just a few months ago. I don't know. It kind of feels like a long time ago to me. Like we have been living
It was like
together.
February, so it was
Yeah,
almost a year ago.
It was almost a year ago. Yeah, we got engaged in February. I'm like a lot
Next
for a
month
lot
will
of
be a
couples.
year.
Yeah, for a lot of couples, it's like they would be married in that amount of time.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's just like the wedding's been on the back burner because I had so much time that it just feels like old news, like that he's my fiance.
I think long engagements are really great because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just like, it's such a bubble of a moment that you're
Yeah.
like, why not bask in it? Why not just like enjoy and love it? Although I know like eventually you
No,
guys
it's
want to like
great.
start having a family and like all
But the
this
timing
stuff.
is all wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, all in due time. And so it is fun. And so I'm like, yeah, like we, when I think back of a year ago, for both of us, like it blows our mind how much can change in a single year. Because like
Uh-huh.
we look back, this time last year, I was still working my corporate job. I hadn't even peeled back the curtain on all that was going to be, like joining him with the company. And we were still living in the house that we fixed up, and that for us was 2 houses ago.
Yeah.
We moved twice. And so we started like that whole little side gig business. And it's just, and then we had, man, we've worked on a lot, and it's just kind of crazy to think how unrecognizable our life a year ago was. We got a puppy, we never thought we'd get a
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like our life, loved it then, love it now. It's just like, honestly, like so different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like back
a
then, I
lot of
still,
time.
still would have thought, like, yeah, you know, definitely thought we were getting engaged, but would have thought I was having the big Chicago wedding. Now I'm like, Mexico all the way, baby.
Heck yeah, I think about it all the time. I can't wait. I'm gonna fit into a bikini. My boobs might be really big.
Because
I
all
might
the
be
yoga.
breastfeeding. No, it'll be. But yeah, there's so much to come, and it just keeps like happening.
Dude,
so
a year
fast.
ago, you hadn't even had Lucia. Like, you weren't, like, you know what I mean?
I know, and I was thinking about this. The past year, I had my first child, and I've also found out that I'm pregnant with our second.
Okay, me and Hayden say this sometimes. We're like, in the amount of time that we're gonna be engaged, Luke and Rachel are gonna have 2 children, like 2 kids
true.
within that time.
It's true.
It's literally crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what tells you like how fast things
How
happen.
fast and yet how slow it is too.
It is, but it's like, and how quickly you can change your life.
There
real
you go.
fast.
There you go. Should we end on that note?
There you go, guys. Make some goals.
You just gotta start somewhere and look at yourself. Like, look back at yourself once you... Okay, shit, I messed that up. I was supposed to end on a high note. We'll cut it off where Olivia said that.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year.